The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Go to the church, though.
Tawali man, what's up?
Man, can you imagine people just dump everywhere? Someone drinks water and throws the bottle wherever.
Come on, Rogers. What else do you expect people to do with an empty bottle?
Simanya now, recorder. Do you know that plastics take at least 450 years to decompose?
What? That's a long time.
Exactly. Because plastics are made out of a lightweight and flexible material that doesn't decompose easily. And plastics everywhere in the environment cause plastic pollution.
What is plastic pollution now?
It is the accumulation of plastic waste in the environment, like bottles, polythene bags, straws. All of these contribute to plastic pollution.
I have been using them without knowing their effect.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Plastics are a danger to the ecosystem, both on land and in water.
So how can we overcome this problem? Is there something we can do?
Oh yes, we can reduce by minimizing the use of plastics, reuse by repurposing them, or recycle by collecting and processing them into new products.
Everyone wants to change the world, but no one wants to change themselves for the world.
How about we change our habits for the world?
And it starts with me and you.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digitalk. The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Good evening to our viewers. My name is Norman Tumuhimbise, and I am sitting here to take you through the Hotline Show today, the 9th February 2026. Gladly today, our two panelists happen to have participated in the NRA war, what many consider as a struggle. And as we look forward to receiving Mr. Joseph Ochieno from the UPC, these two, we are very key in fighting him. I mean, him as UPC. Eventually, Mr. Matovu Vianney left the likes of Honorable Awich Pollar in the things, and he jumped off the bus. But nonetheless, with me here tonight are Honorable Awich Pollar, a diplomat, but also a director at the NRM Secretariat in charge of external affairs. Next to him is Mr. or rather retired Major Joseph Ngoma. Now he is the political commissar of the UPM, what many consider as a stagnant party. I don't know whether it is limping, but of course he will share with all of us how far it is, how far they have gone or what plans do they have. Tonight, we are trying to be as intentional as possible to dissect 40 years of Mr. Museveni and his team in power. And I am being intentional using Mr. Museveni and his colleagues in power, because if you say 40 years of NRM, it is historically wrong, because NRM as a political party started being in power in 2006 after the multi-party dispensation. So literally between 1986 and 2005, we were under the movement system. There are so many gentlemen and ladies that the moment you mention 40 years of NRM in power, they will take you heads on and say, look, National Resistance Movement started leading this country in 2005. So the other years, the rest of the people were there. And for some reason, legally, yes. Practically, I have an advocate here of High Court. It's a two-way. It's both legal and practically. These people have been in power for the 40 years. First, say hello to our viewers, sir, and then I ask Mr. Vianney Ngoma to also say hello. Then I take you through the technicalities of this entire discussion, sir.
Yes, hello viewers. Good evening. And always nice to be here with you on Monday to share the little that we have and to hear your views. We have always had your views back to us. That is the only democratic governance procedures this country can proceed. I also greet my colleague here who is here with me, and hope that the Congress will join us, the Congressman will join us. Good evening. Please, let's enjoy the discussion.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Matovu, say hello to our viewers.
I welcome the viewers on this mighty big talk. And I'm glad to be honored to be given this chance to exchange my experience and what I saw.
Thank you. Our viewers, I want to give you a very basic preamble for this entire discussion. It's a two-way, because close to a few weeks ago, we had NRM and literally the entire government celebrate 40 years of being in charge at Kololo airstrip. On 6th, this very month now, I mean February, we had the likes of Honorable Awich Pollar and some other senior and junior officers in the cupboard. At the time, they were celebrating 45 years of Tarehe Sita. Gladly, we're going to dissect this discussion based on two historical events. It's on record, which Honorable Awich Pollar will definitely confirm, that these two, with their commander-in-chief and others, captured Kampala on 25th. But because I think Honorable Awich Pollar and others are superstitional, they didn't want to swear on 25th because it's the day when Amin had captured power. So they pushed their victory and they are swearing in on 26th Jan, when the president was sworn in at Parliament. To remind all of us, on the 6th February, the same people, the same group of people attacked Kabamba, which history does not dispute is that they attacked a legitimate government at the time. That's Obote, with of course so many accusations of having rigged the elections and the rest. But the rest is history. So we have 40 years of Mr. Museveni and his members in power. We have 45 years of the commemoration of the Kabamba attack, call it the Tarehe Sita, because Kabamba was attacked on 6th February. So I will ask our producer to play for us a very brief speech of the president that he gave on 26th Jan, and that will act as our springboard into our entire discussion. Yeah, definitely want to see what the president pledged and on whether they have lived that testimony. Okay, we seem to encounter some bit of a technical glitch, but we'll definitely come back to it. Honorable Awich Pollar, I may remind you of the basic statements, and of course we highlighted Mr. Museveni's words, where he said that that wasn't a mere change of guards, but rather a fundamental change. What has always been a talking point for so many opposition and other onlookers is to say that then Africa's problem was about leaders who overstay in power. Let's begin from there. Are we still living the fundamental change?
Thank you so much. But there's something which you mentioned which needs clarity in the minds of viewers. The issue of whether or not it is the same NRM who has been in power for 40 years or not. I could even extend to say, as we celebrate the 6th of February of NRA, whether it is the same NRA which is there or UPDF. Yeah, I think we need to make that clarification so that we move along together. Indeed, I start with NRM. On the 26th of January, NRM took over the reins of power through a constitutional procedure called Legal Notice Number 1 of 1986. This is basically a procedure under constitutional law which says that is a constitutional provision now to say power now has been wrestled from the hands of the previous government to the new government, and this is now the legitimate government. To the extent that if that government was sworn in the morning and in the evening you try to overthrow it, you'd be charged of treason. Yeah. Regardless of the fact that it was wrestled by force in the morning. That is the spirit under the constitutional law. And there's an Austrian professor who developed that, and the world accepted it. Now, therefore, in 86, when a power was wrestled and given to NRM, it continued for a long time. Because the spirit then was that, why don't we be under one umbrella? Why would we be under political parties? Because Ugandans are not ready for this. Political parties need when the consciousness and the classes have been developed, so that people belong to parties according to their class. Why do we have it? Can we have one system called the NRM, the movement system, where everybody would continue? It was good, it was nice, it was good. Even if you had to have elections, you would have elections under the movement. But somewhere along the road, people said, like the likes of Cecilia Gual, they said, but you're saying we're under your movement, but you're forcing us. They use the term conscription. There you are conscripting us by force. For us, we don't want to be in that movement. So the voices tended to be heard by many cadres, the likes of Bidandi Saleh, who said, but colleagues, comrades, we're saying this thing is good, but there are people who are saying we are forcing them. Why don't we hold a referendum? If we think our thing is so good, people vote. Should we continue under this or not? So a referendum was held and people decided we go multi-party. This is now which brings a discontinuity or the continuity of NRM. Then the constitution then was saying, the constitution was providing for three systems: a movement political system, a multi-party political system, and any other democratic. So now that people had chosen the multi-party, the law says the other one should be in abeyance, not just, but just be quiet. Therefore, it now required that NRM now forms itself into a political party. That is when now the NRM then registered. I was by then a director, I mean not a director, I was a legal officer under the then legal department. Of movement. Yes, of movement. So we are the ones who drafted the constitution. When we drafted the constitution, we registered NRM now as a party. Now, that is where now people say, this is another NRM. But basically, it was a change or an appearance to meet the constitutional legal limit of multi-party. In other words, we just said, open up and let those people be free to go back to their party. We continue. We organize ourselves. We continue. Something. So you can therefore argue that it is the same NRM. Therefore, right to celebrate 40 years. It is the same NRM. Only that the other movement, which was for everybody, it released some people to go and now consolidated itself into NRM, registered as a political organization, and continue. The other one was not registered. The other one was by legal notice. You see, Honorable, in a second, I think for some reason, people who are opposed to your theory are some NRM people, and they avoid that theory. When you say you have been here for 40 years, they say, look, the first 10, we were with you guys, we were with the Semogerere, we are with the, I mean, so for avoidance of being held accountable for some of the deeds. So that's why I think for some reason they push it away and say, no, look, the first 10, we were not NRM, we were simply movement and we had all of you. So, but you can proceed from there, and you defend your 40 years. And even if you said we are not NRM, the other movement, only that the N is silent. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. The N is there. There was nothing like a movement from, it was National Resistance Movement. Even if you call it a movement, the NR was there.
Yeah, definitely.
Quiet. There was not just a vacuum of a movement. Okay. So I think I've explained the fact that the movement simply released those who said they are non-movement, and the movement continued. Okay? And that is why it celebrates all this.
The 40 years.
Now, otherwise we'd be celebrating from
2005.
Yes. Now, I think I've explained. Now, for the case of the NRA, you also hear voices saying NRA is now 45 years. But then you'd ask, but there's no NRA. The same thing is that during the constitution making, voices were saying, okay, you are National Resistance Army, what are you still resisting now? No. If the spirit was you were resisting but you are pro-people army, then change it to Uganda People's Defense Forces. And it quickly got to be accepted. It was actually an amendment by late Mayombo to amend to put it in like that in the Constitution. And of course, borrowing from our neighbor Tanzania, Tanzania has maintained that nomenclature that if it is a national army, let it be a people's army. So we accepted that. But basically, it is still the same NRA. So I think I've explained that. Now, this comes to your question.
Fundamental change.
A fundamental change. Yes. You see, a fundamental change, first of all, you start from change of guards. Because the president said this is not a change of guards. This is a fundamental change. Now, what is a change of guards? For those who may not be aware, guards is a military term or a security term used for those who do protection services. For example, you can have a guard in somebody's home, like a minister. A guard who are guarding the minister's home. Remember, these guards need to bathe, need to eat, need to change their clothes. So there's always a routine way of changing these guards. Even at the gate.
But the master stays.
Even at the gate, the master stays, but also the task, the mission to offer protection to the minister, or to be at the gate to make sure no wrong people enter the gate. But you keep changing the guards. Same mission, same objective. So it was from this analogy that the president was saying, we are not just changing guards with the same. He's saying we are going to completely transform the country. And indeed, it worked. So the change of guards, for example, at that time, the most important thing was to dismantle the state machinery. Dismantling the state machinery, the gist of the state machinery was the military, the army. Dismantle it, put a pro-people army. The other army was completely anti-people. For example, it was known that at roadblocks were many. And at roadblocks, it was normal for the soldiers to order people that identified kwa mkono moja, pesa kwa mkono. And the whole line would be like from here to 100 meters, a full bus or two buses, everybody lining like this. And no newspaper, nothing would even write. It was normal. Please, musururu, identified kwa mkono moja, pesa kwa mkono. Well, people would line up. It was not common for soldiers to be told, if you're asking for the salary, which salary? Don't you have a gun? You're asking for salary. Don't you have a gun? And you'd go loot, and that is okay. There are many soldiers in Kampala who were staying there without salary, but they had their guns, so they would loot. Then there were others like Fande would just send you. I know of a major who died, unfortunately, who would go to Nakasero market by then and order his soldiers. I want 50 kilos of sugar, 20 kilos of salt, a box of soap, and all this. And then the escort would say, Fande, where is the money? You're asking me money. Don't you have your gun? Go and bring me things. And the soldiers would smartly go to the shop. Even the shop owner would be happy. That they didn't kill him, but at least they have taken. And so on and so forth. I talked to one recently. He was a captain who told me that for them, whenever a soldier would die, even of sickness, they would go and loot civilians, whether old Ngoma or what, then they would give to the relative that this is what the late left. that this is what the left. So, a fundamental change in this case meant dismantling the state apparatus, and the state apparatus was the military, the intelligence. Start anew, start a pro-people army. And that is what by then NRA, any antagonism with the Wananchi, like murder or anything, would quickly earn you a firing squad. You'd be tied on the tree and shot, killed. And NRA became a disciplined army. It was, as we used to call it, it was like a group of nuns, but fighting like warriors, like lions. So that is it. The other thing was, the fundamental change was the economic welfare of the people. At that time, even mere beer now used to be allocated. Kitgum district, 400 crates. Bushenyi, it's 600 crates. As if it is for free and yet for buying. Okay? Sugar was not there. Salt was not, nothing. So now, one of the fundamental things was to have goods and services available. And therefore, it is there as now. To the extent that now beer, instead of allocating per district, you now have to advertise, even sponsor football for your beer to be bought. Nile Breweries or Bell, sponsor football for people to buy your beers. In the past it was not. Sugar, salt, forget about it. Maybe some people even can't believe that in life there could be no salt. Like a whole district like Bushenyi, you move around, even the rich are eating food without salt. Some people think you're telling stories, but it existed, and this is a change. And so on and so forth. So the economic aspect, I started with the security aspect, with the economic aspect, with the, in the educational aspect. It was not uncommon that you could get 3 A's, I mean 3 principal passes. Even if you put it at E, or D, you get your 3 principal passes. But you wouldn't go to a university because Makere was the only university. And yet the requirement is whoever gets 2 principal passes. But now everybody is going to universities because you meet the requirement. It wasn't. It wasn't. It was so competitive. I even tested a bit of it because I entered Makere when it was still the only one. Many people would get all principal passes, all. Even if you sit for 4 subjects, you get all principal passes, but you still can't go to university. As if, and you would be considered you have failed. I failed when I meet the requirement. Just because you have kept to one university. So, health. People now, by then the life expectancy was 43 years. Averagely 43 years you are finished, you should die. If you are living 44, you are now borrowing years from this one who died yesterday. Now it has moved to 67. Life expectancy now, 67 years. So, and so on and so forth. So, this is now what we are calling a fundamental change. That is not a change of guards, where guards are put at the gate with the same briefing. Let no wrong person enter this gate. That is Kopolo Kirot, Kopolo Tumwesije. Tomorrow you bring Kopolo Pio and Kopolo Karanga, still the same brief.
But now we have one Kopolo. Okay, if you use the metaphor you're using,
so,
the same
yes.
Kopolo.
So it wasn't a change of guards. It was a fundamental change. That we are changing and changing the content. We are not only changing the form, we are changing the content. And it has been achieved.
I want you to, with due honesty, you mentioned now UPDF being a pure pro-people army. Would you still consider it being a pro-people army?
With all honesty, everything I've been saying with honesty. Do I have selective
honesty now?
Do I have selective honesty?
Add more honesty onto this.
Matovu, do I have selective honesty? That now I'm honest, the other time I'm not.
There is honesty.
I don't have selective honesty.
Yeah, okay,
I don't have selective honesty. Now,
given some incidents,
you see, the army is 60,000 people or more.
Yeah.
And controlling 60,000 people is not easy. And that is why even in NRA, we put people on firing squad. Because even if you state the positions, some will deviate.
Yeah.
Now, UPDF has still remained the People's Army, by far. Not long ago, if you put two roadblocks, one side for police, one side for the army, and you ask the civilian, do you want to go for this or this? They'll tell you, I want to go for the army. Let me at least pass through the army roadblock. It's not like the police. Police will get out of me something like you've broken this law, your shoes are not okay, or whatever it is, but the army will not. So, overall, UPDF is good, is perfect. But what I was saying is, you do not judge a country by case by case. Even when we go to UN and they're assessing Uganda, a country is judged by institutional framework, because you don't do case by case. For example, army being an institution, how do you judge whether it is good or not? You judge it by institutional framework. What are the laws governing? Are those who slide away punishable? Are they punished? Do they have checks and balance in the army? And this is still there. To the extent that there's counterintelligence in the army, the army code of conduct is very strict, and it is enforced. Many people have been sentenced, including the alleged shooting in Kampala, which they said so many people were killed. One soldier was sentenced to death, one was sentenced to about 80 years in prison. The recent one of 2021.
Okay.
Yes. So, and still up to now, there's an open-ended statement that if you saw a couple, ex-couple or sergeant who killed, and you have evidence, bring, we shall still prosecute. So that is it. So an army is not judged by incidences. An army is judged by institutional framework. And for example, one overarching institutional framework for the country is, in the past, when a soldier or a police breaks your leg and you sue that police, it will deny personal liability. It will say, sue Attorney General, I was not doing my father's work.
Okay.
But now, the law, the human rights enforcement is saying, you are going for operation.
Yeah.
Be reckless, you'll be personally liable. So we judge it by institutional framework. But by far, UPDF is a good army, still with the spirit of NRM. It has done its operations around the world, around Africa, successfully. The military capability is good, the discipline is good, internally it is built with political commissars. Political commissars are like him, they're supposed to check the excesses of the army. The army is doing the fighting, but the political commissars are supposed to check the wrongs.
Okay, I don't want to preempt your likely answer because you may not be, on this very question, you may not be as honest. Do you?
I'm always honest.
Okay. No, on this particular one, I'm about to give you.
Ask, ask, I'm always
Do you, at some point, accept that UPDF has untouchables?
I don't think. Who is untouchable?
Okay.
The army has rules and regulations. It has chain of command. From the commander-in-chief, unless you're telling me the commander-in-chief who is untouchable. Because the commander-in-chief is a commander-in-chief, is definitely that one I will give the exception to the rule. Because the law even says
until
that,
he's
yes, the law even says, even for example, you can't take him to court.
Yeah, definitely.
In the worst case scenario, even if it meant a family matter, like
even if it was a divorce,
even if it was divorce, you can't take him. The best you can do to a head of state is to sign a separation agreement. Yeah, sure. And an agreement, by definition, is a will between two parties. You can't take. So there's the NRM is a discipline army with nothing.
Okay.
Except the commander-in-chief who follow the law. The army follows the law.
There is a four-star general, CDF in particular, and so many people have come out to say he's untouchable given what he tweets. But because I started with a disclaimer that you may not be in a position to give us an honest answer, I wanted to ask.
I've given you an honest one. But I've given you an honest one.
No, wait a second.
I've given you an honest one.
Being a diplomat and also being a government official, and not with a prejudice, have you heard of people say that the CDF is untouchable.
I have heard.
What is your view?
My view is that they are wrong.
He's touchable.
Yes,
Okay.
he's governed by the law of the army.
So he's touchable.
As he told you, he's untouchable.
Okay, he hasn't told me.
The only untouchable, I'm telling you, is by under the law, is a commander-in-chief. Because the constitution gives the president immunity.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you want to accuse or hold somebody untouchable, it is your views, it is hearsay. Because for me to say somebody is untouchable, I am an advocate. I must cite provision that make him untouchable. And that's why I'm citing for you the presidential constitutional provision which makes the president untouchable. You can't sue him, you can't sue him.
Yeah.
Even in civil matters, even in criminal matters.
Only for
but for those who have been saying so and so is untouchable, it is their views. They are the ones promoting Rugam.
Your view is untouchable. Because,
yeah, because what do I have to say to say Mr. X is not untouchable? Can I cite a provision of the law which has given him immunity?
Maybe
I can't.
Maybe the
if
law,
I can't cite a provision of the law that gives him immunity,
maybe
then
the law,
who am I to say is untouchable?
Maybe the law is one thing, and what is on
Rugam
ground?
is another.
No, what's on ground? Because
so if the law is one thing, the other one is
one would
Rugam.
ask if indeed the UPDF is in its structure.
So you want us to abandon the law and choose Rugam?
Okay, let me proceed to Mr. Joseph Ngoma. I think just begin from there. First of all, you are an ex-serviceman under NRA and of course under UPDF. I'm sure you retired after the NRA had become a UPDF. First of all, is what took you to the bush worth celebrating? Is it what is happening in this country? And then we shall come back to the touchables and untouchables.
Now, from what is on the floor, the Pharisee was, when they changed constitutionally, the name being People's Defense
Forces, yeah.
The character will be
people,
citizens, not knowing that what was incredulously pointed to others will at one time change to others disciplinary. Now, at first, open criticism was nice and has kept the movement to move. But when it changed to be terrorism, when it changed to be cyber crime, when it changed to be annoying some people and becoming a charge, then others were called disgruntled. Even reports were there, disgruntled so and so. When they reached on the table of disagreement in the legislative arm in the parliament, we came with rebel MPs.
Having disagreed from within.
Therefore harming fundamentalism. Then when we were registering parties by opening up the space, that's how they called it, they came with parliamentary directive, which was a law, saying that the incumbent president shouldn't register. Let others register. For himself, he will decide where to subscribe from. So they registered. Then they came. Then what is now in the Tarehista vis-a-vis and versus NRA UPDF, they don't consult the source. Take an example. That of from Mbarara to Kabale Kisoro, it was Karuhanga Brigade. But now...
What do you mean Karuhanga Brigade?
It was called Karuhanga Brigade because Karuhanga...
The second division. The second division.
Which year was this?
When Levi Karuhanga was the commandant.
1979.
Oh, okay.
Because when you go there to celebrate...
Another Karuhanga, not Brigadier Levi Karuhanga.
This one is a recent
yeah,
one.
because I was wondering, okay.
The Levi Karuhanga is a recent one. That Karuhanga was put on firing squad at Boma ground in Imbarara.
Having been against Amin. One of
them. Against Amin.
Yeah.
Then they decided to call that front
Karuhanga Brigade.
It was formed by now the commander-in-chief. Then it was given by Brigadier General Bosco Omure to command it, deputized by Brigadier General Jaseka Munanwire. Then it would be better to go with those to show you that here this took place, this took place, this took place. And they unveiled now, because there is a logo of Engineering Brigade, UPDF, the coat of arms, and that of UPDF. There is no that of Fronasa. And then below, there is unveiling that of Fronasa. That's where the staggering of misconception and deceptions arose. The bandwagon. In the military they have, and history, they have what they call the bandwagon. When you come with the discipline of the law, you change the bandwagon. Now the law favors most UPDF. It is like now, this comrade of mine, when the National Organizing Committee is not at fair play with him, what we call loggerheads, wherever he is fit to be on any function, he will not be allowed, because he needs an invitation from them. That's what should be checked to maintain and sustain and uphold fundamentalism. When you bring an issue without assigning it to a body to oversee and regulate it, it can fail to operate and work. Because that fundamentalism is there, but being supervised, upholding and sustained by who? Where is a body?
Do you have doubt in the structure of your PDF in regards to supervising and ensuring that the institution works and follows the law?
I have a fundamental doubt as we were
vis-a-vis the fundamental change.
As we were handling that one, because there is at times, this one know most, because he's always with them. There is where you can bring a story. They respond back that that one for us we don't know. Moreover, we were very young. We were not there. And we made a mistake to knock out fundamentalism by not documenting and packaging these things to be taught. You know the reason why colonialism has lived longer here. Their books are being taught on our syllabus. Ours is not on the syllabus. You take an example, we have two. We have that of Chankwanzi, we have that of patriotism.
Among the leadership school?
Yes, among the syllabus there, that of showing us how this comrade went through the struggle up to date, it is not there. They can even study Fazih Fanon by the rest of the earth, leaving those who were there. So they don't know. When you move by people who doesn't know, you know science is dangerous. Science does not discuss with ignorance. It is like law. Law is science.
With facts.
Without any clue, you cannot argue it. You will need time. As you see them staggering in courts, Give me time to peruse.
Adjournment.
A single paper called the charge sheet in criminal law. They read the charge sheet. A prosecutor needs time to read that, to peruse that charge sheet, or even weeks and months. So by the time when we were changing all these things, as per the elaborate was given here on the floor, we were confronted by two things. One was a judicial panic, because laws by then were from the office of the president called statutes, and not allowing others to contribute, because there were no select committees, there were no commissions of parliament and the like. So we were confronted by the judicial panic.
Are we talking about between
And the
1986
job
and
panic, 86.
to 1995?
Then when we were confronted by those, the job panics, the judicial panics, and others were complaining that they are being excluded, then politics of accommodation arose. The question was, how will it be introduced to the public and the civil service? They came by the promulgation of the law. Then the promulgation of the Constitution took over and changed and threw out very many. So you can't get what is called 10 points program within the enshrines of the current law, called the law of the land. Then that of mentioning and bringing in the fundamental change is not there. It comes by bill. It is the ministry which can bring a bill and the order papers in the parliament. So at many occasions you find them in the parliament debating their survival, how to increase emoluments, salaries, vehicles. You take what has happened now. This is the parliament of a sitting government within the muscle embedded in the fundamentalism. The parliament of 12th parliament has not been sworn in, but this 11th parliament is pressurizing the 12th parliament to be corrupt. They are forcing them to get 300 plus.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, maybe Honorable Awich will have to clarify, in fact, not even simply to clarify, but perhaps to give the legal opinion. It may not be so binding about this outgoing parliament budgeting for the following parliament, also setting because you saw the budget committee passing the budget committee sat and said parliamentarians were worth 300 also million for your vehicle.
When you bring a legal opinion, it will also take him, because with law how it is.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Law as is, not as it ought to be.
Yes, by his legal opinion, they are right.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Because
we cannot run a country minus a budget, so they must give us a budget. Which budget but they have to add in, what is going to cater for?
View outside the law, they are equally wrong. Because now they are scheming for these ones, because they were not aware.
So with a peasant's opinion,
yes,
they are wrong.
They are
legally,
wrong.
The witches are right.
Very right. Okay. Because they are within the confines. That's what they say. In the provisions, it is provided for. When it is provided for, you must take it.
They highlighted they want comfort, as they do.
And now, this is what will hit fundamentalism versus the law, the current law. We don't treat it with personalities, we treat it with the law. Now legislature versus fundamentalism. Now Awich has his own ideals and ideology, moving on foot from where he was to Kampala. But the law now is negating them, because that question of qualifications, when we were on foot, it was not there. What was there was popular struggle. After reaching, then the popular struggle was seen to outcompete them. Then others to have a safe landing, qualifications, and others policing themselves, they started with an abusive word, saying that this one is with more integrity. This one is without integrity. Therefore, is not fit to be here. When you are chasing me in leadership by integrity and qualifications, I am not even fit to live in Uganda. But what is making them fail? They don't have a law to kill me and make me be away and do away with me. That's what they have failed. If they have that law to kill those who doesn't know how to read and write, they can. Let's go to untouchables.
Yeah, of course, yeah, untouchables. Do
The
you think UPDF has untouchables and
that syndrome comes by the eyes. In Banyankore, they have that saying that you fear the eyes. When you eye Awich Pollar, they mean literally meaning when I eye Comrade Awich Pollar, I must see the background is from who. When I realize that is from my senior, whether he's wrong or right, I'm not supposed to intervene. So that's what is causing others untouchable, others touchable.
so unlike Honorable Awich Pollar, you seem to suggest that UPDF has untouchables.
They are there.
Is there a specific chua?
You name them.
The specific
Do you have specifics? Do you have specific names that you think, in your view? Because for me, I highlighted General MK here, and I was trying to ask Honorable Awich Pollar that under normal circumstances, is it okay for a CDF, a serving CDF general, making his tweets, and it is taken as normal? And to some people are like, no, this gentleman is untouchable because he is the only person. And I'll give you precedents. I'll give you General Tumukunde on CBS. What he said and what he achieved has consequences. I'll give you General Sejusa, what he said and what he achieved has consequences. So how special, okay, how touchable is General MK? And it's a question rather that Honorable Awich said, to him it's a rumor. To you, is it a rumor? Is he touchable or untouchable?
It's not a rumor.
It's a fact.
Let us tackle it with the current law. The UPDF Act spells out that UPDF, you do only UPDF work. Now, this is with an organization called PLU, is the leader of PLU. PLU went and made an agreement with the office of Comrade Awich Pollar.
NRM.
His is a political party, but PLU went
As just a mere movement.
and
like,
made a memorandum of understanding to do politicking,
who's chairperson?
which is outside
The law.
UPDF Act. That one, we can tackle that one alone, can give us a ray of where things fall. Because the enshrines of the Act stipulates that you are not allowed to do activities of partisanship. This is a body making a memorandum of understanding with a political party. That is enough spelling out.
To show that someone is untouchable.
Yes. And that is not of our make, so that they will come for us that we have said it. We are not the ones who convinced them that they put them on the press. For us, we ran it on the press. We were not.
But as we get close to like a minute or so to have a short break and then come back to Honorable Awich. Of course, I am reliably informed that also our other comrade, the Congress, man of the people, yeah, he's just coming in. As a senior citizen, but most importantly, as someone who served in UPDF, NRA and UPDF, now a political commissar of UPM, the mother party literally for NRM, have you taken any steps to write to the powers that be that, look, your son, even if he wasn't his son, the CDF's conduct is unbecoming of the fundamental change that we fought for?
Those of writing letters may be classified.
Okay.
There are some of the letters which are informative.
No.
There are those which are formative.
No, my question, have you written?
Have
you made any efforts to write?
I'm coming.
You have a minute to go to break. And
who have written.
Okay.
Mine
what is
practical.
What was the response?
Was suggesting that there should be a historical council. And that historical council should be empowered, that the president, when he cites and other public servants anything negative, reports too. Now the commander-in-chief, others are pinpointing him, but they are pinpointing him for nothing. When you are alone and you fight with everybody, you get problems.
Is he alone?
Yes. Now the law.
He's here. We have Awich and others who support him. Support his staff.
These ones are not part of this, because the executive there and the commander-in-chief, the law in place, left it for him either to do his best.
Okay.
He has no a body. You see, these Americans, for them, what saves them, the court is allowed to check the president. And there is other bodies which can check the president.
How is it here? Even
the party. Now we need to have, this is why you see, we can disagree on minor issues and they grow to major issues, because we don't have who can summon us and reconcile.
Okay.
This is why you see Mugisamuntu, the Besigis, and versus others cannot be settled, because there is no a body to summon them and sit and overrule them on the conduct and make them remember what they agreed. Because when I'm talking to this brother of mine, I can, if it is not this so, when we are outside in our press, I can say, do you remember this time, given moment here, what we said, what we agreed? But here it can't come. And the law chased us from addressing the president, the current president, as we were used to. Because the law brought the first lady to him. When I am with him, I cannot bring the other.
You can't remind, why do you want to remind someone of your history?
I cannot bring the other open criticism while those people who will go at home and say, you were embarrassed here. I have to keep quiet and surrender.
Okay, let's go. Our viewers, shortly we're coming back. Let's just break so shortly. A few seconds we'll be back with Mr. Joseph Ochieno. He's finally made it here. Just don't go away. Continue sharing the link of our show, and then we come back shortly.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Go to the church, though.
Tawali man, what's up?
Man, can you imagine people just dump everywhere? Someone drinks water and throws the bottle wherever.
Come on, Rogers. What else do you expect people to do with an empty bottle?
Simanya now, recorder. Did you know that plastics take at least 450 years to decompose?
What? That's a long time.
Exactly. Because plastics are made out of a lightweight and flexible material that doesn't decompose easily. And plastics everywhere in the environment cause plastic pollution.
What is plastic pollution now?
It is the accumulation of plastic waste in the environment, like bottles, polythene bags, straws. All of these contribute to plastic pollution.
I have been using them without knowing their effect.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Plastics are a danger to the ecosystem, both on land and in water.
So how can we overcome this problem? Is there something we can do?
Oh yes, we can reduce by minimizing the use of plastics, reuse by repurposing them, or recycle by collecting and processing them into new products.
Everyone wants to change the world, but no one wants to change themselves for the world.
How about we change our habits for the world?
And it starts with me and you.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digitalk.
Hi, Rogers. Can I ask you something?
Shoot.
What does corruption mean?
Well, summarily, corruption is abuse of public power for personal gain or for the benefit of a group to which one owes allegiance. For example, when a public office is abused by an official accepting or soliciting a bribe. By the way, private people can be corrupt too, like bribing police officers to escape fines.
Okay. So exactly how does that concern me?
Well, do you pay taxes?
I guess, yeah. What does that have to do with this?
Everything. Because those taxes you pay are supposed to facilitate services you use, like water, electricity, roads construction, medicines in hospitals, name it.
Okay, that is much bigger than I thought. But it can be stopped, right?
Well, yes it can, although it may not be as easy as it sounds. And here is the reason why. Corruption roots are grounded in our country's social, political, economic, bureaucratic traditions and policies.
So, what has kept it going this long? I mean, why don't we stop it?
Well, the main reason why it has been here for so long is because institutions are weak, either as a result of poorly defined ethical standards of public service, weak administrative and financial systems, or ineffective watchdog agencies.
What can we do to stop it?
At a national level, we must focus on strengthening the independence and effectiveness of public institutions that fight corruption. At a personal level, we must commit to never giving a bribe.
I promise I'll never give a bribe.
Well, that's a great decision you have made. Me and you now have to spread this message to all our friends. If we all do our part, corruption will be no more.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digitalk.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Welcome back, our viewers. My name is Norman Tumuhimbise, and we have now 60 minutes, call it an hour. Gladly, Mr. Joseph Ochieno has joined us. It's been a tug of war, yes, but because he does consider this show as important, and also considers our viewers as important, even when it cost him an hour to be here, he has again made it. Unlike some other days, he lacks a red on him, but that doesn't mean he has dropped his UPC, the Congress of the People. So say hello to our viewers. And of course, I don't want, you may not justify why you don't have some bit of red on you today. But say hello to our viewers. And then, yeah, first say hello to our viewers.
I was watching Comrade Awich, and then I realized that there's nothing yellow on him. But I've told him officially, that is actually fine when he doesn't put anything yellow on him.
Okay. Who knows? He could be having some yellow bananas. So something yellow.
That we shall have. But normally, when people like Awich are like that, they impart the real thing.
I'm here
Some
in
peop-
spirit.
Some people
In spirit, I'm here.
immediately put the yellow thing. It looks slightly overzealous. So I am instinctively Congress. You can see that the T-shirt I have had to be closer to that. But it was not my intention to put in a T-shirt today, because as you said, I spent actually 4 hours between Mukono and Kampala. I was so furious that I nearly, except for this program and except for the viewers, I nearly went home straight, because initially my hope was that I had more than sufficient time to reach my home and to change, and then to come in an attire which was appropriate for this television program. But it's nothing else but a confirmation that we have had 40 years of retardation and nothing but infrastructure retardation. In between, went through railway crossings in Magamaga. Those are the apparent ones in Magamaga, here in Kampala, including Chireka. And then you look at the messy situation in which it is here in the industrial area. The train from Nagongara would take 2.5 hours to reach here in Kampala. It took me 4 hours from Mukono to Kampala. It's completely unacceptable.
Okay, I wish to, on behalf of Digitalk team and of course our viewers, to thank you for attaching value to this very show. Please. But to give you a summary of what the two panelists have literally submitted.
the very related panelists.
Yeah, sure. We are trying to dissect the 40 years of literally NRM in power, and what literally also got attention of both panelists was about the professionalism of UPDF, also having it in mind that 6th February was their Tarehe Sita commemoration. Maybe you could spend 4 or so minutes to give us an overview of what you think, first of all, about the professionalism of UPDF, but also reminding you of the fact that you know about the President's speech at Parliament on the 26th Jan, and we highlighted specific statements. This isn't a mere change of guards, but a fundamental change. How fundamental is the fundamental speech?
It has been
1986.
Mr. Museveni's speech of 1986 on the question of not a mere change of guard, but a fundamental change, is total. It is a perfect truth. Because fundamentally what changed from 1986 to date, it has never happened in independent Uganda. Never have we had an army which is so partisan that is almost close to personal. Never have we had a total institutional breakup. Never had we had the death of culture, of sense of total absence of community. And I'm talking as somebody who spent the last few days in the village. Whether you're in the street of Kampala trying to negotiate traffic and you see a border person basically trying to fit, they think they're in a disco dance, they see space and jump in, and another car and another Land Cruiser, or somebody breaking there but nobody sort of cares. Community and society has died. Early this morning, one of my jobs was to engage with related members of family about an item that I couldn't imagine myself getting involved in 50 years ago as a young person. The morality has died. I don't know today anybody, any minister, for example, whom an average high school student from Chibuli Secondary School or Makinde SS, Makinde High, would want to relate with as a parent. I don't.
What do you mean?
Not, I'm talking morality, and I'm talking about the 40 years. Systems have broken down, communities have broken down. I know Comrade Which may have given you listings of schools and health services and things like that. Life has been totally privatized, meaning, and I don't know what original Fronasa guys think. I think some of them should be very sad that you founded Fronasa as a progressive, allegedly leftist organization. And today, 45 years later, meaning 50 years from the early times of Fronasa, early 70s, to today, health is fully in the hands of global pharmaceuticals. Education is in the hands of for-profit. Public services, and infrastructure is in the hands of Chinese. Agriculture is in the hands of Vianney and whoever. I don't know. So it was a fundamental change. Now, but then you talk about the professionals of the NRA. I don't know what is profession about it. In the meantime, a soldier who's the Minister for Internal Affairs, Minister of Defense, it's a military government. But right now, we have soldiers who are serving in partisan positions as ministers. We have soldiers who are making statements which would normally be treasonous in this country. We have soldiers who are competing with ministers in conversations, exchanging treats. So I don't know what's profession about it.
That is a rumor.
No, it's not a rumor.
No, when we were away.
We have cases, video after videos. I have returned from Toro, which by this is a very bad thing, very terrible thing, that you see soldiers beating people, up to including in LC3 elections. Something I never saw in my times. In the meantime, the nearest to ruralization of the army was when at some stage, radical appointed sub-county county chiefs as soldiers, by the way. So that he did at one stage. But it'll be, not parish, it was actually not sub-county, the Gombolora.
The parish chief was also, and the sub-county chief.
Maybe sub-county and counties.
They were all trained dressing in uniforms.
No.
Sub-county, yes.
You mean the ones of...
no, No, it was from Gombola. Below Gombola, I was here.
Gombola is the same thing.
Gombola is a sub-county.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah, Gombola sub-county, but not below Gombola. Because the others, I knew, at least in my county, I knew all the rest of the other chiefs.
What was the purpose of the training of the?
Basically, was militarizing the state in terms of control, and of course, it was also under threat. Because these guys, the exiles and
is that an equivalent of Honorable Awich? Is that an equivalent of
equivalent as current LC3 chairpersons?
Yeah, what I mean, is it slightly closer to what happens to Chankwanzi, where they are taken into also some bit of drills and patriotism?
No. They're direct. Yeah. That's what, they were direct soldiers. They trained professional soldiers. It was not that maybe semi-civilians. They're complete soldiers. But to a means credit, we knew the soldiers and it was limited.
So what hurts you is not knowing that.
So you can't compare it with today. So today we see these videos going around.
Yeah.
Soldiers beating up people in polling stations. No wonder these guys locked the internet. Soldiers beating up people in polling stations. In my Tororo, I was actually having a discussion with a family member in my car. I couldn't believe that even in the recent LC3 elections, local schools in my own constituency, they're up to 2. I don't want to go up to 3. I don't want to go into some of the details because some of them may be legally, might have legal implications. But this is very genuinely worrying that people drew guns, drew up arms. There are videos of people ticking. I never knew it would happen under this regime. So I don't know what fundamentally anybody, at least in my Bokedi, I don't know anything specific I can give these guys as a credit. Not security, because there is no longer any security. But not security, because there is nothing in Bukedi today that we never had, including part of Idi Amin's time.
Mr. Joseph Ochieno,
yes, sir.
Not to be his lawyer, because he's a senior advocate. He will say, and you will definitely also say, and prove to all of us that you have driven from Tororo and come to Kampala without any UPDF officer stopping you and telling you, pesa kwa mkono moja, what else? Identity card kwa mkono moja, pesa kwa mkono kwa mkono yengine. That's what he has submitted.
I passed through an NRA roadblock, except that they know that I'm Ochieno, and of course, they give me a clear.
But did they block people that were following you?
No, number one. Number two, look, in Obote's time, but, the money thing. Money thing happened. No. By the way, completely money thing happens. But to be fair, on roadblocks, it is less about the army, but more about the police, but sort of they're the same. Anyway.
But during your days, what was
No,
happening?
my days, it was not there. The army thing that they're talking about, predominantly about, which I experienced from Wiri. In fact, I have a story, it's in my memoirs, where this soldier told me in the train, toa pesa. And then I gave the only 5 shillings that I had, 5 shilling note. And the guy I think he forgot that he had actually pulled the money from. He came back. So the train conductor was, trying to push me aside because he couldn't tell him anything. So sort of that happened. But no, you could not compare what happened in the meantime with NRA. Not at all. The only thing that happened in the meantime that we compare today is that there were disappearances, and today there are disappearances. Okay, one.
I think it would be fair to also add Obote's time. It would be fair to add also Obote's time.
Where?
So that you can have a comparison.
In Obote's time, the place which faced sort of related problems were terror in Luwero, war which Museveni had taken to Luwero. Not in Tororo, not in Bukedea, not in Atiak, not in Average Mbarara. There are instances, I met somebody from Kabale who said that they really, I think he was held, overnight because he looked like Museveni. So that I've had. So people will have been, either because they're relatives. But these are warlike situations. Now, if you pick those and they were scattered, and you compare with the 20 years of NRA war in northern Uganda, the brutality in northern Uganda, you can't compare. But it's not about point scoring. And I really don't want to go to that, because on that one, NRA, but there is nothing of NRA's 10-point program that I would score them anything above an average pass. Because even in the question of democracy, the democracy thing is massively shocking. I said, I think on your program here, that the last thing that NRA had was this security thing, that you could put a disclaimer away from northern Uganda. But if you see the brutality and torture, the sense of security that you guys have been subjected in the last 1 month of elections, if you talk about democracy and you see the mess, including the one I'm coming from, including in my own constituency, as I said, including in my own parish, they lost it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Joseph Ochieno. The reason for which we had to give you some bit of extra time than it's because the two gentlemen had already moved forward. But gladly, you have now, I want to believe that you have now caught up with the rest of the panelists. Now, Honorable Awich Pollar, I wanted you to, first of all, taking the literal meaning from what Mr. Ngoma Vianney has mentioned, it's as if to say that you, the white-collar people, pushed away. If it was now, would say pushed away the foot soldiers. Pushed away the foot soldiers. So, sorry, you pushed away the foot soldiers. Is it to the advantage of this country, or rather as a means to push away the foot soldiers, and then you, the white-collar people, take on the revolution? Because he talked of the judicial panic, he talked of now the parliament, and we're trying to, not in bad faith, but sarcastically say, okay, why would parliament now, it's already given, in their view, the outgoing parliament is setting a pace for the, the incoming parliament, that guys, look, your vehicles are going to be 300 plus million because you need the comfort. And then one asks, rather than fixing the roads, why do you give people bigger vehicles? Proceed from there, and then we shall see how we move forward. Beginning with the white-collar administrators.
You said many things that we have to go slowly to discern them and make sense of it. For example, on the issue of the foot soldiers, I think foot soldiers vis-a-vis what you call white-collar.
White-collar administrators.
It's an organizational structure. Every organization will have that. Even at the earliest stages of the struggle, you had formations. At the highest of it was the High Command, which had to make policies which had to form orders, which had to set strategies. And that was still at a guerrilla level. You had the high command. But still you have administration and logistics. Administration of logistics are those ones who make sure that soldiers eat, soldiers have records so that you can transfer them or promote them. Soldiers have clothes. So these are systems, and it continues. And now when you're in government and you expand the army, it becomes even more hierarchical in hierarchy, but also more detached from the ordinary soldiers. But we all know the formation of the army from a section, a platoon, a company, a battalion, a brigade, a division, and so on. So when you say foot soldiers have been removed, I do not understand. Unless you are using it to mean the ordinary cadres.
We are sidelined.
Sidelined. That is when what I can impute as it is. But historically, all formations, at whatever level of the struggle, it has to have those units. The planners, the strategist, that is high command, and the administration and logistics, which has to make sure that these soldiers eat, these soldiers dress, these soldiers get medical treatment. So you will always have those formations. Now, about the cadre placement, the same thing is true that at the earlier stage of the struggle, not so much consideration was put in academic qualification. But of course, as you take to running of the affairs of the state, many people now tended to be required for academic qualifications. In any case, if that was not the case then, how would you sort who is who? That would mean you will have to look at somebody with your eyes and say, you Tumuhimbise, you are better than Okello, or you Pio, you are better than Tumuhimbise. It would be very difficult because you need to set parameters. But also these parameters, hopefully by academic qualification, would also would show you competencies. Because, man, even when we pass in exams, even those who are doing medical course, it's not that the pass mark is given for you to fail or pass. The pass mark is to see competency. If this student cannot understand 50%, if you give him a patient, will he treat a patient?
Operate that 50% also.
So it means that if this student has not understood 50% of this subject, he won't answer the patient. The same thing even with the humanities like law. If this student has not had 50%, as a lawyer, how will you defend rights of people? And that's why in the academic struggle, they tell you to repeat. So that repeating means you go get the competency, understand it, so that you are able to do responsible tasks. If you're a lawyer, you're able to defend rights. If you're a doctor, you're able to treat patients. Therefore, running the affairs of the state, expanded as it is, needed competence in terms of education. It is not so much like if you're a guerrilla force.
You recruit whoever, no qualifications.
And then the tasks there are limited. Remember, the task in a liberation struggle is to build a force, make sure they stay alive, and capture state power.
Hand it over to the white-collar administrators, literally.
Not hand over.
Undermine the other side by any means necessary.
Complete the task. Because the objective then is to capture state power, dismantle the state power that you have, take it
without qualifications,
wrestle it in your hands. Once you have it in your hand, you set a task of running. Same thing, it has been clearly explained even by great thinkers like Lenin on how to run a state. It's difficult, and therefore you'll set that. Probably, I don't know what the case of my comrade is. Those who fall victim.
Yeah, his case, if I am correct, his case is literally to say, okay, when it comes to the rebellion, you don't need qualifications. Whether one is 4 years or 5 or 10, non-educated, what happens to these people after they have captured the power? Majority of them taken away without literally appreciating their work. I think that is what he wanted to mean, or what he meant. And then there come white-collar administrators, set qualifications. To him, he's very skeptical and suspicious of it was a way through which they wanted to throw away the foot soldiers. And then the white-collar administrators took charge, who to his interpretation have become unruly, corrupt, non-productive.
No. First of all, I was saying I didn't know in this case, because normally those who are victims of those set out parameters will always, of course, complain or will cry because you have been left out within the parameters. For
Something you fought for.
Yeah, the parameter. But normally, there is what we call resettlement system. A resettlement system would include how do you handle the casualties, for example, those who are injured. You have to set out policies and procedures of handling casualties, physical, medical casualties, those who are shot and injured, legs broken, arms broken. How do you handle the aged? Are you going to keep the aged there forever, or you have to get a package for the aged and let the aged go home? Some aged are willing, even more than willing, to go and say, me, I've finished my objective. Yeah. My objective was to liberate the country. Thank you so much. I'm going home. Of course, some aged are saying, no, I'm the one who brought this thing.
Must be part of the beneficiaries.
Then you have the issues of education. Education, there is always attempt to train, military training, regardless of a classroom qualification. To say we did like OBC, officer basic training, in Bombo everywhere. To say, okay, regardless of your academic qualification, can you do training? Should you be able to do this training, then you can go through the promotions. Then there are others like pure educational schooling. That's why in the case of NRA, a message was flashed to all units. Those who have children, what was called Kadogo, surrender them. And I can assure you there are some commanders who didn't want to surrender. I remember it.
Maybe they were skeptical. If I go to Mbarara by the time I return, what will have happened?
It took a long time. It took a long time for Kayanja.
Yeah, Brigadier Kayanja now. I think he's Major General. Yeah.
Eli to surrender his Kadogos took a long time. Amanya Mushega had to really nearly physically fight to remove Kadogos from Kayanja. Sefali, who had nearly a nursery school, also took difficulty to surrender. And I remember there was somebody called Kayanja.
Another Kayanja.
He was the one carrying President Museveni's briefcase. He was standing behind Museveni. Kayanja even reported with us in Umbara. He came back and he died, unfortunately, because he was privileged. He was moving with the president. He was the one carrying briefcase.
So he didn't see any reason for which he would go back to school.
He was a smart boy with a pistol behind the president with a briefcase. Kayanja came back and died. How I wish President Museveni had chased him. Go back to school. What are you doing here? Go back to Umbara. But he couldn't fit among us in Umbara. I mean, guy was moving. The president all of a sudden is here to be in a dormitory and eat this. So many resettlement schemes always come.
Do you think you have achieved to the expectations?
Yes, a lot has been achieved. And therefore, retirement package. Because you see there now, you come in contact with the laws. He seems to have issues with the law. But the law sets terms and conditions. If you are at the rank of a lieutenant, what age must you be for you to leave? Because the presumption there is, you're a lieutenant, ideally you're a platoon commander of 40 people. Are you still capable of running with 40 people in the bush? Then the higher the rank, the higher the age. For example, you're a general. You're a general, you're probably in a war room with a big map. you are just ordering that remove this brigade from Mitiana, take them to Katonga Bridge. Enemy will cross from Katonga. You know, you are commanding on a map. So that one, even if you're 60 years, you can do it. So the higher the rank, I mean the higher the age, the higher the rank. Because the presumption is that you can do this in a war room on the map. So now you have the issue of the law. And that is where Comrade Matovu gets in conflict. Because he's saying now you have introduced the law. So the question is, do we then move without the law? We move in the anarchy so that we say, okay, because we want to keep comrades, you do that.
Maybe
or you get the law and now address the issue of resettlement package. And the question there comes, how much is enough? And it is difficult to get what is enough. But attempts are always made to have those institutional framework, give package. But also when they get out, that's why for us, I mean, there's a whole ministry of veterans. The Ministry of Veterans. How effective it is another subject. But there's a Ministry of Defense and there's Ministry of State for Veteran Affairs.
Yeah, in particular, yeah.
So in other words, this is an ideal situation where this minister is supposed to follow these people
but
in the
is
villages.
God, what's her name? Alice Kaboyo? If I'm not mistaken.
No.
That's
It's
for where?
called the Huda.
Huda.
Okay.
Huda is from Yombe.
The Minister for State for Veteran Affairs.
Yes, Minister of State for Veteran Affairs. Alice Kaboyo is
For
Minister for Luero.
Luero, yeah. For
So
Luero.
Huda is a minister.
So Luero still has a minister?
Yeah.
What do they do?
Yeah, for
Actually, it is only Tororo which doesn't
Luero
have a
Triangle.
minister.
I think we need one man.
Because for
Thank
your
you, sir.
information, Teso has a ministry.
I know.
Northern
No,
Uganda
it's-
has a ministry.
you're missing
Bunyoro
out.
has a ministry.
You're missing out on something. You have to talk him. You could
No,
be
we
minister for.
actually need a ministry.
Yeah,
Okay, let me
you
explain
need to
that.
talk him. You
I'm
could be
going to-
minister for in charge of Tororo affairs.
Bukedi.
No, Bukedi.
So you shouldn't be surprised about Luero.
No wonder.
You shouldn't be surprised about Luero because there's minister for Teso, minister for Northern Uganda, minister for
Karamoja affairs, yeah.
minister for Bunyoro. So
and the Luero Triangle.
leave Luero alone.
So in
because-
short, you have tried to do something to ensure that all these gaps are dealt
yes,
with.
Yes.
So I have this question for you in regards to our fundamental change, because we can't run away from that speech. It was said, it's on record, and all of us move by that speech. All that we can do is to draw some
What
bit
do we
of...
need? What?
I'm saying we can't run away from accepting that that speech was said.
Yes, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a fact. All we have to do now is to draw some bit of a yardstick, or rather get a weighing scale and, weigh what is on ground vis-a-vis what was said. How democratic is NRM itself and the government?
But first of all,
In
about
reference to the past governments.
the issue in reference to not a change of guards, but fundamental change. Okay, I made a very elaborate presentation here, Congressman.
Stop
You
boasting.
missed it. I made a very elaborate presentation on that, and I'm not going to get back.
Yeah.
You don't have
You
to.
can
You don't
say-
have to because I will not be convinced anyway. But carry on.
So I'm not going back. Now I will try to answer your
How
question.
democratic, yeah.
How democratic. Now, how democratic, I will answer it in how democratic is NRM as a party,
And yeah, of
or
course,
how democratic is NRM as a government.
yeah.
I think the democracy is better addressed in the party. Because if you address it in the government, government is an executive wing. There's not so much democracy in government. It is an executive wing. Unless
Would you
you're
mind
talking
repeating
of
that? Why do you say that there isn't democracy in government itself?
Okay, I will explain.
Okay.
Let me start with the party. We are very democratic in NRM. And you will know that with the development of NRM, the democracy that we used was called democratic centralism. Democratic centralism means you hear the many voices, but you draw consensus. It is kind of a contradiction that you have democracy, but it is centered. So we had what is called democratic centralism, so that it would encourage consensus arriving at in all decisions making. We have even, by the way, put it in NRM constitution that the first option in decision making should be consensus before you even go for voting. We encourage consensus making before you go to voting. Now, therefore, it puts NRM to a democratic system. I must concede here, though, that we are developing the constitution, the democracy, and that is why to access, yes, to access leadership position, for example, we don't appoint. In the Communist Party of China, leaders are appointed by somebody or some institution.
Do you mean within the NRM party or?
No, I'm saying within NRM party, okay, leadership positions are accessed through democratic processes. Some parties don't. I'm not so sure about CCM, but you'd see it and the party organ will allocate. In Bushenyi, in Igara, Tumusime will stand. In Ishaka, Tumwewaze will stand. So you people sit there and wait for a list of candidates given to you.
Selected ones.
Yes, given to you. But here we are democratic. Why I said we are developing is because the processes itself still has challenges. So all positions are accessed. And also the provision is that as long as you are
all or most, Comrade Awich,
all positions, including the national chair.
Secretary General is appointed.
No, that is administrative. Those are civil service. Like me.
In fact, when you were not elected, you were handpicked.
I'm a civil servant of the party. Civil servants are appointed.
Okay, appointed.
Me, I'm not a leader in the party. I'm not a party leader. I'm a party civil servant. And it exists in all party secretariats, even in UPC.
But back in the day, Secretary General Babas was voted. There are people who voted.
So that was a time when we had that democratic provision. Of course, as I have always repeatedly said, laws are not hard and frozen. They are made to address a particular situation. And when the society finds it not useful, it is amended.
What was the specific problem at the time that made you?
Oh my God, will I floor?
Choose to?
I will not.
Okay, it's when. Sorry, proceed, sir.
So I'm saying that
we are growing
the party is democratic because all positions are accessed by elections, contrary to other parties around the world where elections and people are selected. The other thing is that decisions making are discussed and arrived at democratically. Where consensus can achieve in a decision making, whether at an NRM branch in the village where they're discussing, or NRM branch at the parish level, or NRM at a sub-county level, or NRM DEC at a district level, or NRM NEC, or NRM SEC, where an idea is introduced to be discussed and decided on, the first option is to generate consensus. Where consensus fails,
go to an election.
Can even vote, either by show of hands or secret ballot. So in decision making, therefore, it is also democratic. Now when you move to government, government, you can see the democracy in government by first government itself organizing election. The fact that government of Uganda commits itself by ensuring that laws are there to provide for elections, because you can't have election without laws. Government to provide for resources for election, money which will enable election commission to pay salary and buy utensils, and provide security and other accessories to conduct that election. It shows government is democratic and wants democracy. But also in institutions of government, like cabinet, at cabinet level, decisions are discussed. As I said earlier, even in cabinet, first option is consensus. But where consensus can't be reached, voting. So in all levels of government, whether local government or central government or cabinet or whatever it is, even subcommittees of cabinet, everything. Therefore, the Ugandan, both government and NRM as a party, is a very democratic government. If you want to see it how it is, pick a country and compare. pick North Korea, or even pick Tanzania, or pick Rwanda, or pick any other country, you will see that the content of Ugandan systems is very, very democratic. In both the NRM, I can't talk for other parties, because NUP, for example, why were we even going to other parties anyway? NUP, for example, from somewhere, a woman has expressed interest in Kampala district, they say, no, you go to Makindye East, something. You are located a constituency. We don't even need to go outside Uganda. I don't know what it is for UPC. UPC tries, I think. They try to, they hold...
We don't try. We are the most...
They do it.
We are the fountain of democracy in this country.
But there are 7 people. They have 7 people who do that. So we don't know whether these 7 are ordained by God or what.
Oh, the UPC have 7 people.
They have 7 people who decide in a parish or in a village. Yeah, there's 7 people in the
a committee of 7 per
7 people. I don't know whether it is a committee. Okay. But anyhow, what I'm saying is, if you want to see and examine our in this case, I mean our as Uganda, how democratic we are as a country, or even ours as NRM, how democratic we are. Look at other parties in Uganda. Look at other parties outside Uganda. How do people access positions? They are appointed. They are picked. No, woman express interest in Kampala. Put all posters up to Tenda, up to Chanja, up to Kawempe, Bwaise, everywhere. She wanted Kampala district. And then all of a sudden, then somebody Noob said, no, I want Malende. I want Malende. Please go to Makin. By the way, did she win in Makin?
Yeah. She's an honorable member of Parliament for Makindye West.
So they are okay. So that is
their predictions serve to their purpose.
So for us in NRM, we are democratic.
And the country
accessing positions and decision making. For the country, we are democratic in facilitating the democratic processes itself and institutions of government deciding things democratically.
Okay, because I wanted to not to ask a leading question, but you may consider answering it as a leading question on whether or not a democratic country would cut off internet, have elections in the dark, come back. We don't, up to now, none of us knows what happened where at time. Would you consider that move as a democratic move? Within a yes or no? Sorry to say.
No. I have to answer. No, incidentally, you know, by my background, having been a world judge of human rights, in the headquarters of the world, in Geneva, I am more human rights based than politician.
Yeah.
And even all political actions or assessment, I do it from human rights based
point of view.
It's strange that here in the case of shutting internet, I support it.
You support the shutting of?
I support the
You supported?
I supported this.
And you are still supporting the future elections that Uganda cuts off?
Yes. You see, it wasn't really taken so much in the interest of democracy, but in the interest of national security. Colleagues, I can assure you, if you leave this internet, evaluating the damage it will cause at the end of the day, the 3-4 days, is very serious. I've always given this example. When there was a Kayunga riot, when the king was supposed to go to Kayunga and he was blocked, then Facebook was operating, social media was operating mainly through Facebook.
Yeah.
It caused a lot of harm. People would take a photo, either AI generated or otherwise, and say, for us in Bwaise, we have already started burning. What are you people in Nigeria waiting for? Bugolobi, don't you see we have started burning? The whole country was in chaos. Do we really want to have technology at the disposal of people to mobilize for insecurity, for dismantling the country? Or we would rather say, colleagues, we need this thing for the sake of security and not tearing the country. We shall close it, have election transparently in public, do it. In any case, we're not voting on internet. Were we voting on internet? Have election done. Those who want to cause chaos, preempt their move, open it later. I totally agree with the closing internet, because I saw for a fact
how it was abused and misused in the Kayunga riot.
I want
somebody said someone say, for us we're already burning. You are wasting your time. You also start burning from there. And it worked.
You see, Honorable
including lies.
No.
Me, I'm in for the internet. That was shut and open later.
What about you also be in to question he who barred Kabaka from going to Kayunga, rather than blame who could have posted anything about the Kayunga rights? Because one asks, had he not been barred from going to Kayunga, would there be rights? Most likely no.
But still, the state had to maintain law and order. For example, why was Kabaka being barred? You see, the security.
Why?
The security situation at that time was that the people in Kayunga were calling themselves Abanyala. And they were saying they have a kingdom. So they were asking, what is this king coming to do here? For us in Kayunga, we have a kingdom, a Banyala kingdom. We have our king. Okay. So rather than let the king go to a Banyala kingdom and there's a fight and there's a death and there's what, the state had to come in to say, you know what, don't go. Don't go. The Banyala are saying they have a kingdom. Let us see this and see how it is.
Okay.
That is when the state
decided for the kingdom.
Let me cross.
No, there was already a kingdom claiming itself there.
Where has the kingdom? Where has the kingdom gone? Because
it
now,
is there up to now.
But he goes there.
Who?
Kabaka goes there. So what has happened? What has changed?
Maybe he goes to visit another
kingdom.
He doesn't
go.
But I know now there's a king. There's a king of Banyala. We were even students together in Maker.
Kimeze, Major Kimeze. Okay, let me cross to...
if you wanted the king to go there and people clash and people die and you say, oh, NRM has failed to protect people. People have died.
Just like
now you wanted to now start laughing when the clashes has gone between the team of Kabaka and the team of Banyala and 40 or 50 people are dead. That is when you say, look at NRM. People are dying when they are seeing. But people are dying when they...
But still
which
they died.
state will want to see people dying?
Okay, let me
the state must intervene.
Mr. Vianney Ngoma. Now, you have had Honorable Awich Pollar's submissions. You will forgive me for giving him quite...
I was very concerned.
Yeah, because...
No, but I'm in government. I should have more time.
I'm not an escort to NRA anyway, but there you go.
Okay, thank you.
So he has to account for his 45 years of Sita and then 40 for NRM. Okay, what do you have to say in regards to Uganda being democratic, but also in support of some of the what people consider as abuses of rights by closing social media because a country A was engaged in elections?
Social media came as a result of migrating from
analog to digitalization.
UCC, unfortunately, I was also invited when they were convincing us. Because
stakeholders meeting sometime, remember?
Because for us, as we were used to analog, we were against digital migrations. Then they convinced us that it is the best, on security it is highest. Now when it changes to be insecure, they deceived. It is on record there. The minutes are there, let them bring them. I end by that one. On the move for all struggles for democracy inclusive, the first one on the popular struggle was demystification and democratize the firearm. When the evil law came by parliament, it became a monopoly of UPDF. That's how it is written. Smuggling it from demystifications from 86 to 94. The reason why the firearm could not kill a Ugandan was demystified and democratized. That's when they brought LDU to have an access to it. Being controlled by RCs. A firearm being commanded by RCs. Not by sophistications of what they called demagoguery, by demagogic commanders with ranks. Now, a song was there, which was sung by this one, that we sleep in the grass. We cover ourselves by the grass because of the property of our citizens. In the Swahili, mwananchi. That one who didn't go to school respects much a mwananchi than a professional one who directs him that by your rights go home. That's how the law cheats what is prepared for the whole of us, identified by all of us. Another song was, I'm tackling fundamentalism practically, that Uganda inchi yenye mali mingi, wabeberu wa Ulaya wanaililia sana, that Uganda has a lot of minerals and richness, but the Europeans are crying for it. Then the law cheats our economy and richness with the word investment and industrial parks. In 1967, the then Vice President of Zambia, Simon Mwansa Kapwepwe, told us that even though you have chased these people by independence, they will come back as investors and take away our country. When the Zambians refused to adhere, because Mwansa Kapwepwe, by then it's 1967, were the people of P7 of colleges, no universities. Now the university schooled ones, Zambia has lost every richness. Here in industrial parks, who of the citizens is there?
Your children working?
In my own home, to be a Samba boy, that home is not mine. Jobs were created to make us serfs, and salaries to entice us to be servants
of the investors.
So, at first, in our formal education, before the National Center of Curriculum Development came, our schooling formally was by job creation. That is the African curriculum. But the European curriculum, they prepare you to be a worker of a ghost you don't know, called government. Because the word government is not decentralized on our own roots. When they knew that in Africa, singers and the foretells, they reached a level of discrediting singers, because during our time, when we were trying to study, not at schools, they were calling that faculty of MDD, changing it in Uganda, Musuru Daradara, to make us sigh away. This is why we are missing. When Rakedude were singing Back to My Roots, we were seeing them as fans and concerts. We are not on our roots. But fundamentally, not a mere change of guards, not a mere
I want to
change
give you half a minute. I goes to Mr. Joseph Ochieno. So, but I think now, in your 1 minute, kindly make your closing remarks, and then I go to Mr. Joseph Ochieno, give him 3 with closing remarks. I finalize with him to sum up all of you also in a minute, and then we shall leave here.
Now, as we tackle all this,
close with what do we need to do?
What we need to do, this was identified by all of us. It must be achieved by all of us. Now the sampling is vague. To get 40-something million people, the planners in the Ministry of Planning, in the Planning Authority, 5 of them can plan for us without consulting.
Because we can't have all of you at
No
National Planning
way.
Authority.
They have to go there and consult.
Come back with a report from the grassroots.
The grassroots. They go there with what they have prepared. Then they come
for
back.
it to confirm.
And there are some of the organs which should be balancing all this, but they are not decentralized.
Okay.
Like Human Rights Commission should be having human rights committees right away from
district
down,
levels?
up to the national level. Wherever much you cross the internet, those committees can bring what is transpiring down.
Okay. So that's what we need to do, to decentralize most of the structures.
Everything, even Parliament. I wrote to Parliament that this desk called public relations should be decentralized, regionalized, and
so
they refused and remain in Kampala.
Okay.
Those should be getting views of the public versus
what
the conduct
legislating
of the legislators.
Okay, sir. Mr. Joseph Ochieno, could you please use, 2 minutes? I don't know.
You don't want me to come all the way from Toronto to come and spend here 2
Yeah,
minutes.
who was it? I think.
No, I'll take exception. Anyway, but I recognize how television operates,
Yeah,
and I've been on television. People should be surprised for 35 years, and I've been amongst the best television in the world. So I have an idea. But look,
So when,
look,
yeah,
don't worry,
sure.
don't worry.
Especially with the way forward.
No, don't worry. I'll wrap it up. Don't worry. Even if you didn't, by the way, even for me, if you ask me to speak, even if you don't time me, I'll do it because I'm conscious of time. But look, 40 years of NRA has been amongst the most tragic since our independence. And I say this honestly because it's something I think about and I live it. Coming from Tororo this morning up to here and thinking through this topic as I was stuck in traffic, I just don't know what this guy's brought, which is a plus one. Number two, you know, Vianney is very intellectual. Some of the conversations that they attempted, which was disastrous, was in the 70s in Fronasa to think there was something wrong with the status quo politically, that there was something which was ideological. No, it was basically a leadership and a penetration by imperialist forces. Vianney, you guys made a fundamental mistake, you know, for whatever reason, to think that the 1960s...
It was either Amin or Obote as individuals.
The 60s Obote government that Amin overthrew, you know, because Amin overthrew it, just as you yourself were saying. So therefore, it was their fault because they overthrown. No, there was actually nothing wrong with them. The people who overthrew Milton Obote government were imperialist Western forces who were concerned that we're Africanizing our economy and we're taking full charge. And it's a very, very sad thing. It's a topic I think we need to come back to. So that was a fundamental mistake. Come to 1986. Pre that, I don't really know anything which was wrong with local government. I don't know anything which is wrong with central government. And the more I look into it, the more I actually feel that maybe we need to go back to these things. And although the Resistance Council things, especially 10-cell thing, was a UPC initiative, actually, by the way, you know, I'm actually, of the 60s, I'm actually reviewing that if we are to go forward, whether or not we would have the same kind of structure, whether it's necessary. I think it's massively expensive, especially when it's as corrupted as NRA has corrupted it. I think we need to be able to review local government, and I would be surprised that possibly all we don't need are local chiefs, you know, plus, of course, then elected representatives at particular level. But this is another topic we can actually be able to have. But that said, credit that master, Comrade must give to me. I was one of those people from 1986-87. In fact, I campaigned massively against NRA's use of child soldiers. And one of the campaigns that I did, particularly in the global north, was not only to say NRA criminally used children, used and abused them, but to say, and Comrade Rich, take note, that because they've done so, and we can't reverse, these children must be liberated. These children must be rehabilitated. I'm making the point. I don't know, they rehabilitated them for themselves, not for this country. And it's an important point, and it's not point scoring, it's for historical records, that we said, no, these children must be pulled off, you know, and returned to communities. How that has been done is neither here nor there. But going forward in 1 minute, NRA needs to review its conscience and recognize that they killed our public transport, they killed our trains, they killed our buses, they killed our airlines. Now they've turned them to girlfriend, boyfriend kind of thing. And Ugandans have these talk things on the side rooms, forgetting actually the huge holistic, colossal implication of this. My Tororo, my local girls' school got 60 points. It's amongst the best performing schools outside the privileges of Kampala, Central Uganda and Western Uganda. Yeah? But away from that, a BIM, which is one district in Karamoja, got 18 Division 1s. Meaning, Tororo Mai Bokedi, which was the best in 1970, followed by Karamoja. Karamoja now, an entire sub-region, gets the Division 1 equivalent of one average school somewhere here in Mukono. It's not sustainable. One thing that I want to give Comrade bad story about his fundamental crudeness in terms of fundamental change. One of the recent UN reports, Comrade wants to talk about happiness. One of the most recent UN reports puts Uganda as the 8th of the, in terms of poverty index, amongst the extreme poverty, at 59%. So Uganda is 8th worst in the world. And at that, it's a UN report, amongst one of the most recent UN reports. And so if you look at it from that perspective, I don't know really what we gained from these people. How are we able to work together and reconcile and heal and have a national consensus and build and make sure that people don't brutalize one another and make sure that generals don't abuse and blackmail and make sure that young children who are lost by NUP and others are returned to their families, and then we're able to return polity to national polity post-independence. I think it's an important point that my two colleagues need to review going forward, and indeed the viewers, whoever they are, they need to participate for their future.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph Ochieno. What do we expect? That one thing or so now in your of course your 40 years and still counting, because as per what we all know, NRM now is in renewed voters renewed their mandate. Precisely, what should we expect that is new?
New?
Yeah.
Well, it is all contained in our manifesto. I don't think we can put it into
protecting the gains.
Country.
Okay.
It is contained in our manifesto. It is, but the only thing I want to say, by not opening a debate like my Congress.
Okay, we shall leave that for next week by God's grace.
Debate when we are meant to close is that the 40 years are there. Mm-hmm. We have achieved so much. We have challenges. We can't go without challenges. I call on Ugandans, now that they have given us another mandate, to keep us in check to ensure that manifesto is implemented.
Okay.
I thank you.
On the manifesto, you need to...
You're opening a debate.
No, I think no. We shall have that discussion some other time. Comrades, ladies and gentlemen, watching us from wherever you are, both here and abroad, thank you for your time. It's always very interesting to have that three. Yeah, very interesting. We thank you for your time and of course your data, even when we know that sometimes data can be kind of a challenge, and also the cost of data itself. But nonetheless, you keep it digital. See you tomorrow. Yeah, with Honorable Mubaraka Munyagwa at 8 a.m. Of course, going through. Yeah, he will account for the time he spent in campaigns. See you. Be blessed.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.